Hello everybody, how are we all? You guys asked me to do another live Q&A on sourcing and packaging, marketing, etc. So I am here. I'm just waiting for you guys really to fire your questions at me. I'm in my office today, so sorry about the view. I think the sun kind of fires out the shot, so apologies. I'm in my scruffs today, working from home. I'll give you a little tour of my office. This is where all the magic happens with my board that normally has lots of deals on it, but actually I cleared it all off yesterday. It's not a great great demonstration, sorry. My little desk, Andy's studio over there with all his guitars and various other things. So I'm here today to answer any questions that you guys have got. Hi Louis, nice. I'm looking forward to seeing you as well on the 3rd. Just for those that don't know, we are doing a cash flow accelerator day in Milton Keynes on the 3rd of December. It is set to be a smashing day. I'm really excited about it. I'm doing a session on deal packaging and sourcing, direct to vendor, direct to landlord, and a little bit through agent, but Ross pretty much takes that section. But the whole point of the day is to give you a real intro and a bit of exposure to all the different strategies that we work on inside the Intelligent Property Academy team. And we've also got Louis and Reese joining us to do some mindset coaching with you guys. So if anybody's coming to that, give us a thumbs up. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. Anybody who hasn't booked a ticket to that yet, they're only £32, I think the tickets are. And we have got a few seats left, not many, but we've got a few. So if anybody's interested, just stick a comment down and I can send you a link after this video. So let's get into it. Let's talk packaging. Let's talk deal sourcing. What do you want to know? Fire your questions in. I did actually get asked a question this morning that I might as well start with, which was all about automation. Now, automation is probably the thing that makes life easier when it comes to your marketing. And you know, Mark is a big advocate of systemizing his business and so on, but when I'm talking about automation, I'm talking about specifically marketing automation, so email marketing and texts, promo stuff, contact with your audience, in order to build a relationship with them and ultimately close the deal with them. So I use MailChimp in my business. The reason I use MailChimp and not Infusionsoft is because I don't feel like I need Infusionsoft yet at this stage. I have to admit, if I had the money, I probably would work with Infusionsoft. But it can be very confusing if you don't know what you're doing. I've got the luxury that I've worked with Infusionsoft for a number of years, and so actually I kind of know it, which is fab. But if you've never ever worked with automation and email marketing and things like that before, MailChimp is really, really good. MailChimp has the ability to automate workflows for your email account in the same way that Infusionsoft does, but it's not quite as intelligent as Infusionsoft is. Oh, okay, I've got frozen screen. If I move around a little bit, I'm on my Wi-Fi, so it should be fine. Is the screen unfrozen? Can you guys all hear me? Can I have some thumbs up and hearts if you can hear me? No. Hello? Ah, there we are. I've got questions popping through again now. Okay, so it seems to be working now. Fab. So questions. Who do I learn all my internet marketing stuff from? Myself. So this is a question by Gareth. I've done sales and marketing for about 14 years, so you know, I'm pretty up to speed with what techniques to use, what the different platforms do and can do, and how to use them. You know, the thing about internet marketing is, you know, if I talk just about Facebook for a minute, yeah, there's 1 billion active users a day on Facebook. So, you know, your audience is definitely on Facebook, definitely. It feels like it's a very expensive way to promote a business and so on, but the traction that you get and the targeting that you can use inside of Facebook to target your audience is absolutely the most intelligent possible. There's just never been anything like it. So in terms of what you spend versus what you see in results, it actually isn't very expensive. In my opinion, Facebook is probably very undercharged. You know, for the results that you can get from it, if you use it right and you use the targeting correctly, it's just incredible. You've also got, you know, Google adverts and pay-per-click and these sorts of things, which I must admit I don't do much of. I'm definitely more of a Facebook fan than I am anything else, which you guys know because I'm always on here messing about. But Gareth, to answer your question, I learn a lot of my internet marketing stuff from just jobs I've had in the past and training that I've had in the past, but also I spend an awful lot of time continually developing my own knowledge. So you know, I do online kind of I listen to webinars in the marketing space. I've done some sort of digital courses online as well. I read an awful lot. I test and I try and I play with things online to just kind of practice and perfect. And that's really deal packaging, especially, and sourcing. It's about giving it a go and finding out what's working, getting rid of the stuff that isn't working and doing more of the stuff that is working. So, you know, for Facebook adverts, you can start with budgets of, you know, £5 to £10 a day and get great results from those. It can bring you great leads. And from there, if you run 3 different adverts or 3 different campaigns, you give each of them £5 to £10 per day. If one of them works and the other 2 don't, then you ditch off the other 2 and then you put £15 per day into the advert that was working. But you have to test it and tweak it and practice it and perfect it, and that comes with time and effort and understanding. You can obviously pay people to do that for you, but it isn't rocket science. There's no big secret really. You just have to learn how to use the platform. So hopefully that answers your question. Dev, what systems do I use in the business apart from other than advertising? So I think you mean things like CRM. So I use Insightly CRM, and that was a recommendation from Mark Beale. It's a really great tool because you can plot your pipelines in, so all the different activities that you do in your business you can have a different pipeline for. So for me, if it's a rent-to-rent I'm going to keep, then it has a different process than if it is a package deal that I'm going to pass on. You know, so having Insightly is great because you can see and watch the deal or the property moving through the pipeline until it gets to the end, and also you can set tasks. So at each stage of the pipeline, hello Andy. Hello. The husband just dropped in to say hi. At each stage of the pipeline you can set tasks, so as you move it forward through that pipeline, it then triggers an instruction for you to do the next thing. So it means that if you know your processes and you sit and analyze what you do from start to finish on each of the things that you do, you can create a pipeline, and with each pipeline you can create a task so you never miss anything. Really important for staying compliant and ensuring that you never lose money and all of these sorts of things. So the CRM system, you know, I'm in the process of, and I haven't done it yet, but I am definitely in the process of setting it up, sales funnel systems. So there's advertising to attract your traffic to your business, but you need to do stuff with them as and when. I've just realised that my battery is running flat, so I'm going to just plug my phone in as well. Give me 2 seconds. Once you have attracted your traffic, you need to actually do something with them, and that means capturing the lead itself. So excuse me 2 seconds, I'm just trying to plug in my charger. Amateur, I should have charged it before I got on here really, sorry everybody. But it proves it's live, let's just say that. So yeah, once you've got a lead, you need to actually capture their information. You need to then enter them into a nurturing funnel, because not everybody's ready to do business with you right now. So I'm implementing, and I haven't done it over the course of this year, because when I first got started, really I just wanted to get up and running and start making a bit of money, and now the business is there. I've got the you know, it's not an expensive thing to do, but there is money there for me to now choose the right platforms for me to grow the business further. So for that, I'm 99% sure I'm going to introduce ClickFunnels into the business, which is going to be the place that is kind of my sales pages, my conversion pages. I also use Upwork as my outsourcing place. So any kind of admin or VA work, data entry, data scraping, you know, lead gen type stuff that is really volume and needs to happen all the time. I outsource that to a person on Upwork, or a couple of people on Upwork. My favourite is a lady I've got in Jamaica. She works for me. Her name's Fiona. She's fab. And what else? I'm just looking at my board because I was scribbling notes on it last night, actually, because I'm playing around with my marketing campaign for next year, my marketing plan, sorry, for next year. So ClickFunnels is Slightly, MailChimp is the other that I've already talked about, and the automation that goes with that. Upwork and Facebook ads. They are my plan. That is how I'm going to be attracting most of my traffic next year. So hopefully that answers your question, Dev. Who else has got questions? How do you target motivated sellers, and what's your strategy? Hi Anthony, how are you? There's so many different ways, and I think I put a post on Facebook about this in the group, in the deal packaging group that I admin, because there are so many different ways that you can target motivated sellers. You can pick up the phone to a Gumtree advert, for example. You can send out letters. You can put handwritten letters in the post box every time you see a house for sale. So in my car, I've got a big folder with just loads of handwritten letters. So every time I see a house for sale, I put a note through their door. So there's also, you know, things like leaflets, bandit boards and all that sort of stuff. I don't personally use leaflets, actually. It's not a tool that I've worked with yet, just because I haven't felt like I've needed to. Not to say that they don't work, because I just haven't used them yet, so I can't really give you my opinion on that. I also work with agents, so I talk to agents, and I try and target properties via Rightmove and Zoopla and places like that, which need modernisation, or I've got no chain, so actually they're, or have been reduced, have been on the market for a long time, so for whatever reason they're sticking. So there's lots of different ways. You just need to decide what type of motivated seller, where you want to do, and then focus your efforts and attention in there. I like to try and pick 3 strategies of marketing at any one time, because if you try and do everything all at once, you'll get completely bogged down and stuck most of the time. So try and do 3 things, again, similarly to what I said with the adverts. Pick the one that's working the most, keep doing that, and then introduce maybe another 1 or another 2 and get rid of the ones that aren't working. And as you start to do that over time, what will happen is you will create, you will develop an intelligence of understanding where your best leads come from, what type of leads they are, how they came about, and how much marketing you need to do to generate a deal at the end of it. So, you know, there are some people who will put out 5,000 flyers and get 5 deals, and there are other people that will put out 5,000 flyers and get 1 deal. So you need to know your ratios in your area, and then you just need to do more of that. So hopefully that answers your question. Gareth Thomas, I tell you who, he's asked me who I kind of listen to, read from and learn from. There is a podcast which is completely irrelevant to property, but it's called Perpetual Traffic, and I definitely recommend having a listen to Perpetual Traffic. The guys that run that podcast are really, really good at what they do, and they're really good at explaining it in the simplest possible way. It's not jargony and complex, so if you want to really understand the intricacies and you want just something to listen to that's free, then Perpetual Traffic's great. You do also have the option to come and train with me, and I teach these steps, but shameless plug, I'll move on. Who else have we got? Where do you buy furniture? Dev, thank you for your question. So furniture for houses that I keep in Milton Keynes, we use a company here that actually they're just a little warehouse. I don't even, I have to say, know what the company's called. I just know what the guy's name is, which is Shaz. I just ring him up and he delivers the furniture that I've ordered. And for beds, we use a company called Bed World, which you can find on eBay. It's about £130 for a double bed, 3/4 double bed with mattress. So that hopefully answers your question. What other questions have we got? Hi Jonathan, looking forward to seeing you at the weekend. Okie dokie. Just scrolling through your comments. So any other, fire all your questions in, guys. I'm going to be here probably for another, probably about 35 minutes or so. So happy to answer any questions that you've got about anything. More automation stuff. So just another question about the MailChimp automation. So it's actually really straightforward. It isn't very, I mean, you can have different levels of MailChimp. You pay different amounts every single month for different number of subscribers. So if you've got a database of 30,000 people, then your monthly costs will be very different than if you've got a database of 1,000 people versus a database of 100 people. So they charge on number of subscribers, and then they charge you on the permissions you have within the platform to be able to use automation. So I've kind of got the midpoint account. I haven't got a free account. I've got a paid for account. I think I can't actually remember what it costs me every single month. I need to speak to the man that controls the money, who sits over there, and find out. But it's not huge amounts of money every month. And what it allows me to do, what I love is, at the moment I don't have a ClickFunnels account, although I am going to introduce that into the business. What it does allow me to do is create sign-up forms for things. So I can drive traffic into a lead capture form, and from that lead capture form I can automate content that gets sent out to them. So some of you might have even had an email from me today. I've sent out an email to promote my investor list. So you can basically click the link in the email, fill in the form. It will then add you to my data list for people that are interested in being sent rent to rent or flip or lease option deals across the UK. And once you've opted into that, you then start to get emails from me on a regular basis, but they are generally automated through MailChimp. So I don't have to physically, I can write it once, but then every time someone signs up, they still get all the same content. The beauty of automation is that you only have to do the work once, which saves you so much time and effort. And then the only kind of reactive stuff I need to send out via email to that list is when I have a new deal come on that I need to sell. I will then just drop it into the template that already exists because I've already done the work. I drop the content in and I ping it out, and it's really, really quick. People can then reply straight to me, and it's just a really good way of staying in touch with your audience, and also notifying as many people as possible about the potential deals that you've got. So once you can get into automation, life becomes a little bit easier. It's really good fun as well. Okay, so we've got a few more questions. How have you sourced leads in the past? Dev, I'm a firm believer in the old ways are the best. So for the beginning of this year, I just hit the phones. Gumtree, there's no secret about this. I hit Gumtree pretty hard at the beginning of this year. Purple Bricks as well. At one point, you can't use it now because they've changed their system. You know, Pre-Loved. Anywhere where somebody might advertise their house for rent, that's where I go. Again, the trick to marketing is not rocket science. Work out who your audience are, work out where they hang out, where they are, go there, talk to them. It's really easy. You just need to not overcomplicate things when it comes to generating leads. Keep it simple. Pick up the phone, have a conversation with people, ask them how you can help them. I love the question, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you like to see happen? people love that question. And also it gives you, as the sourcer or packager or whatever, whether you're sourcing for yourself or packaging on, it gives you the ammunition you need to be able to present an offer to them that works, because it solves their problem. So I just hit the phones, get on Messenger, get on Facebook, talk to people, tell everybody what you do, and leads will come. What it doesn't give you is a consistent, leads are consistent, but where I'm at now, I've got to the point where I want to be able to plan into the future. So I want to be able to know that if I do X or I spend X, it's going to give me Y at the end of it. So I'm doing a lot of work into analysing all of this sort of stuff that's happened over the last year, so I can see where my money's come from, where I need to spend more time. You know, if I bring anyone else into the business, what activities should I get them to do? But there is a big mix, Dev, of ways that I source leads. Generally, the cheapest possible way is my favourite, and online, generally speaking, or on the phone. Hopefully that answers your question. Alessio Tondo, nice to see you too. Thank you very much for your message. Got a question. Do you have any idea what's going to happen next year with the new HMO regulations? Do we need to worry about it? We operate in London and are a little worried. Okay, so it's a difficult one for me to answer because I haven't got a crystal ball. Neither has anybody else, and I think that's the thing that's unsettling for everybody. What I will say is, every challenge, every problem, every issue that ever arises in our industry or anybody else's industry that presents a problem or a barrier to success has an opposite and equal opportunity attached to it. I'm a firm believer in that. So yes, there's going to be new legislation. Yes, it will come out, and you know, at the moment we don't know what it's going to look like and how it's going to impact. But anything that is being brought into the industry to improve the industry in a way that focuses on tenant care and tenant safety, I think that's a good thing. Yeah, you might have to apply for a license. What is it, £600 or something like that? What might that mean? It might mean that there are lots of properties available to you through landlords that don't want to go down that route and spend the money, that you may be able to absorb into your business, license, and make a profit from. Do a good job as a landlord and make a profit from. I think everybody has to remember that every challenge has an opposite and equal opportunity attached to it, and it really comes down to how you look at it, the mindset that you've got, and the people that you surround yourself with who can answer those questions and challenges for you. You know, if you're not sure how to deal with that, seek advice. You know, seek advice from the professional people that can give you the advice. I get a lot of questions about tax. I've literally got no idea about tax. I don't know the answers. So I always recommend that people speak to an accountant, and they'll advise you. If it's a legal question about contracts, again, speak to a lawyer. They'll be able to advise you better than I ever can. And so I think probably, you know, I do deal sourcing and deal packaging. I'm not an HMO expert. You know, you could speak to somebody like Justin or Mark, and they'll give you their opinion on it. I think Mark actually did post quite an interesting article or blog on the potential changes to licensing that's coming in the next 12 months in the Rent to Rent group on Facebook. So maybe have a look for that, Alessio. It might shed a bit of light. But to be honest, I don't know how it's going to change it. It will. But if it's changes to improve tenants' care and tenant safety, then I say fair play. Let's just crack on and deal with it when it comes. I don't think you should see it as a barrier. So what other questions have we got? I did have a question this morning, which is not on the group, but it's made me think about whether or not, as a deal sourcer, a deal packager, we are whether we need to be registered for anti-money laundering. Now, the answer is yes, you do. The person I was speaking to didn't realise that we fall into the same category as an estate agent. And if you read the rules and the Estate Agent Act and all those sorts of things, you know, you'll see that we're categorised in the same way. So yes, we need to be registered for anti-money laundering. There are some very clear compliance things that we as deal packagers and sourcers need to think about. Data protection is one of them. Anti-money laundering is another. Property redress scheme is another, and insurance is another. So if you are not, or have not yet, sorted those things out in your business, get in touch with me, because you really need to be thinking about it. And I can recommend to you all the people that I speak to and use to set up all my stuff when I got set up in terms of insurance and things like that. So what other questions have we got? Hi Maureen, hi Jack, hi George, Tony, hello. Thank you very much for being here. Gav Thomas, yes, we do need to be anti-money laundering registered. You're right. It's scary, actually, how many people do not know this. Yeah, I speak to lots and lots of people these days, and most of them have been on some sort of property training with people in various places and various companies, and they've never even heard that anti-money laundering impacts our industry at all. That terrifies me, because if you're not thinking about it, you're leaving yourself wide open for investigation and ultimately fines, and you know, it's not good. You need to be thinking about compliance when you set your business up, and it's really important that you do that. So we've actually got a whole session on it in our package to profit event that we do. It's actually not run by me, because I'm not all about the detail when it comes to compliance, but it's run by a lady called Tina Walsh. She's my go-to lady when it comes to compliance, and in fact her husband's just told me they're watching from Geneva. So hello Tina and Tony, hope you're well. I'm going to miss you this weekend. I wish you were coming to Milton Keynes, but you're on holiday. Can't win them all. But yeah, so Tina is the lady that I speak to, and she can absolutely fill in any gaps on that. She's done us some videos on compliance and all those sorts of things. So if you wanted to get your hands on those, again, PM me. I can tell you how you can do that. Question, is it necessary to set up a limited company for sourcing and packaging deals, or can you do it under your own name? You need to speak to an accountant on this one. Really, I have a limited company because that's what was right for me, and how my business is set up, and how my finances are set up, and how my everything is set up. Is I wanted to have a limited company, but I went and sought advice from a professional accountant who told me the pros and cons, the tax efficiency issues, you know, the legal responsibilities, etc., around that. So you need to go and speak to an accountant. We've actually got a guest speaker on our Package to Profit event this weekend who is my accountant, and he's actually coming to do a whole session with the guys that are on the course. So Jonathan, who's on here now, and a couple of others who are on here now, you guys are going to get to do an hour session about setting up deal packaging and deal sourcing businesses in the most tax efficient way, making sure that you take into account all your legal responsibilities and so on. I'm really excited about this session. It's going to be really, really good. I'm sure I will learn something, because, like I say, accounts and finance is not really my expert area at all. But he's coming along to really drill down into the importance of setting it up in the right way, so that, you know, ultimately in business we can make as much money as you want, but you know, you can earn money from so many different places. It's about keeping that money that's the most important thing, but keeping it in a legitimate way. So if you don't have the setup right and you don't have the compliance right, then everything else could, or is at risk of just falling apart. So it's really, really important that you think about these things. Tony, I'm sorry you won't be there too, but I forgive you this time round, but only once. I hope you're having a nice holiday. I'm only joking. So what other questions have we got, guys? Fire away. Let's ping them over. I'm just scrolling through, so sorry about the close-up headshot. I've answered all of these. We've got a couple of repeat questions. Someone's just pinged me a message saying, in fact, a Facebook message that's come up at the top as opposed to in here, saying, when is the cash flow accelerator day? 3rd of December. So again, for those that missed it at the beginning, the 3rd of December is in Milton Keynes, and it's just a one-day event. The tickets are £32, and you've got me, Justin, Mark Beale, Ross Smalley, Callum Clark, Louis and Rhys Davis, and Hayley and James Burr as well, all delivering sessions on property management, rent to rent, service accommodation, motivation, mindset, deal packaging, sourcing through agents. It is a jam-packed day. So if anybody's interested in coming on that day, just drop me a PM and I can send you the link over. I think there's about 60 or so people booked on it, so I know we've got literally a couple of spaces left, not many, but it's set to be a good day. I think it starts about 9, finishes about 6, and it's at the Hilton in Milton Keynes. But yeah, so the ticket prices are super cheap actually. They've reduced them from about £300, I think, like £297 or something, down to £32. So it'll get you up and running for 2017, that's for sure. So if you're about on the 3rd of December, it'd be great to see you in Milton Keynes. What other questions have we got? About deal packaging, rent to rent, service accommodation deals, anything else we've got going on? We've got questions, how can I get on your investor list? So yeah, you can be added to my investor list. If you'd like to buy deals from me, then I'm always happy to add you. You need to go to a link, which I'm just going to find for you. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, the link is, it's a bit of a weird one. HTTP, I'll actually write this in the comments section, I think, but it's a link, takes you through to a form. You fill in the form and it will add you to my investor list. So that is how you get added. Really, really simple. Anything else? I'm just looking over at these questions that I was pre-asked this morning, but I think I've covered most of them now. Yeah, so okay, I've covered all of the questions that have come through. Half an hour, that's nicely fitted into my little time slot, so that's good. Has anybody got any other questions about deal packaging, sourcing, marketing, lead generation, lead nurturing, or anything like that at all? Automation? I will answer your questions, but if not, I'm going to sign off. You have 30 more seconds. What is the lowest return on investment people are looking for a single let and an HMO? It's a bit of a backwards question, Jennifer, because I don't tend to look at lowest possible. I tend to look at highest possible. And there's lots of different factors to consider. I think you need to think about the money going in, the risk. You know, if someone's buying a property that's 50 grand to buy it, versus £500,000 to buy it, their expectation is going to be really different. You know, I know investors that I work with, for a house where they're going to have to, it's a £500,000 property, you know, they wouldn't even consider sniffing at looking at it if it was anything less than about 20%. So it, you know, it depends is the answer. It's a really difficult question for me to answer, but the best way to answer that question is when you're in your own business and you're talking to your investors, you ask them personally, what is the minimum ROI you would expect on this level of investment, or this level of investment, or this level of investment? What would you expect if it was an HMO? What would you expect if it was a single let? And they'll give you their answer, because it's different for everybody. Every investor is completely different. There isn't a one size fits all. So you have to make sure that you are working for them, as opposed to just a general kind of sweeping answer. So sorry, that's a bit of a vague answer, Jennifer. Hopefully it explains why it's a bit vague for you. This is orange juice, by the way. It's not actually Magna's. It's a stolen pub pint glass. When sourcing from agents, do you tell them you're doing it on behalf of an investor? Yeah. There are scripts that we use and that I share with you on our Package to Profit course, that if you do not tell them to start off with, you risk just dirtying the relationship, which is never going to work, or it's never going to work long term. What you really need to do is communicate with them that what you do, how you do it, why, what the benefits are of working with them, or of them working with you. But yeah, so generally speaking, I am one of a network of partners that work to acquire property on behalf of our clients, and that's how I position that. And actually, it's not really a problem. Hi Raju, how are you? I may have sourced via an agent. How do I package that to ensure the potential investors don't go straight to the agent? So you need to have paperwork in place. When you're working with investors, you need to I'm just swapping arms, so you're now going to get the other view of the office, of Andy's half of the office, so excuse the mess. And also the Man United poster. He's a fan, who knew? So when you are working with an investor, you can put or you should have a sourcing agreement. My sourcing agreement is quite a robust one, so it's got the sourcing agreement. It talks about the terms, it talks about the fees, but it's also got non-solicitation in there, and it's also got an NDA in there as well. So you can have the agent sign a lockout agreement as well, so they can't pass it on to anybody else. It depends on the deal, and what it's worth to you, and how much of that stuff you need to put in, because when you start talking about lockout agreements and things like that, sometimes the uneducated agents tend to kind of freak out a little bit. But ultimately, you do need to protect your deals. So look at your sourcing agreement, make sure it's fit for purpose, make sure that it covers everything. And that way, the investor is committed to you, that even if they go via you, you still are due to be paid your fee. So hopefully that answers your question, Ali. I can't give out the sourcing agreement that I use because it's cost me a lot of money to get it done, fit for me, for my business. I have a template, but we generally don't release it to anybody that hasn't been on the course, because it kind of dilutes the value of the course for the people that actually pay to come on the course for all of that information. So sorry about that. Raju, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you very much for the feedback. Are you guys enjoying this? Is this helpful? Because I've started doing these live Q&As and webinars and Q&A sessions, and some of them are really positive. Some of them I get loads and loads of questions, and we kind of get through them. So I just really wanted to check that you guys are actually enjoying it, and it's worthwhile, and it's clear enough. I'm actually covering things clear enough. Got lots of thumbs up, so that's got to be a good thing. Thank you very much. I was trying to get a gauge of whether some deals I was looking at would be attractive to others, or whether I would need to be seeking higher. I don't understand. So, Jennifer, again, when I'm packaging up deals, I always try and include more than one exit strategy when I put together the brochure. So I always look at it and say, okay, well, if they were going to buy this, do it up and sell it, what does that look like? If they're going to buy it, do it up and rent it out, what does that look like? If they're going to buy it, do it up and serviced accommodation it, what does that look like? Because then what we're not doing is applying our own thoughts of what we would do as a deal packager to a property. Because again, as people, we're very guilty of assuming that everybody wants the same as we do. It's not the case. So by looking at all the different exit options for an investor on a set property, what's great is they get to pick. And as long as all three of them stack up and are attractive, they'll pick the one that's most appropriate for where their business is going, you know, the development of their business and all that sort of stuff. So when you're thinking about whether a deal is attractive or not, and you're looking at how you make it come across as attractive to your investor, have a think about maybe just including some other exit strategies as well alongside it, so that they can pick which is the best for them. And also, if an investor knows that they've got a plan B and a plan C, it feels less scary, I think, to them. So I think that helps. I'm not sure if that answers or even adds any value to your question whatsoever, but hopefully it does. Scrolling. Hi Vincenzo, how are you? Hi Aaron. Let's have a look. What other questions have we got? Hello Claire. My very good friend Claire has just popped onto my live feed to have a nose, I think. And Jennifer, you're very welcome. Hopefully it helps. And I think actually that was a bit of a changing point for me when I started to introduce, when I very first started and I was packaging up and sending out. I was just sending out that, in my mind, right, this would be a rent to rent for me if I was going to keep it. So that's what I would send out. But actually, by just simply having 2 sections in my brochures, one that says if you just rent to single let, rent to multi-let, rent to serviced accommodation, these are the differences. This is what it cost you. This is the difference in profit. This is the difference in work. And just let them pick it. You know, once they've bought the deal from me, actually, what they do with it, it's not really my problem. It's down to them. But by giving them 3 options rather than just 1, it shows that, you know, as a packager, it shows we've done our work. You know, they're paying us to do the hard work for them. They just want to take it and set it up and run it. They don't want to be pissing about figuring it all out. That's what I get paid for. So, you know, by just doing that little bit of extra work, you'll build a better relationship with your investors. You will make them more money, and ultimately they will then, in my world, what I think is going to happen is they're going to spend all that extra money with me. So it's a win-win-win for everybody, as cheesy as that is. Sorry. So yeah, I think, Jennifer, if you can introduce that, you'll find that really, really helpful. Let me know how that goes, and anybody else that introduced that, if it makes a difference to you know, the fees you can charge and the speed at which you can sell a deal. I'd be really interested to hear kind of how that impacts the results that you're getting. What else have we got? Let me look. Oh, I think I might have just blocked somebody off. If I have, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. No, I think you're still there. Vincenzo, it was you. So I'm sorry if I've like deleted you from the group. I apologise. If you're still there, then if you could just thumbs up me, because I pressed the wrong button. So guys, hopefully this has been really helpful. If it hasn't, then I'm sure you wouldn't be here. So hopefully that's fine. Oh, one more question. Do you normally do more than packaging for your clients? I.e. organising refurbs, agents, etc., just pass on the deal? So at the minute, Jennifer, I am very much a deal packager in the truest sense. So I package it on and pass it over. That might evolve into next year a little bit, because I'm getting more involved in sort of more interesting projects. And I think, you know, when I started this a year ago, my priority was really just to earn an income. Now I'm starting to think a little bit more longer term, and you know, how I can kind of future proof my income. So if I was going to get involved in, you know, organising refurbs and all of that sort of stuff, then I'd probably go down the route of a JV, and maybe source for free but take a portion of the profit and organise the project, you know. But saying that, I'm probably the least organised person I know. So am I ready to be doing projects like that when actually I'm making a good income doing what I'm doing, and building a business for myself at the moment that's going very well? Do I need to do that yet? I don't think so, but it might change. It may, if a deal comes across my desk that I think is absolutely you know, local to me, and it meets all my criteria and everything works, then maybe, but at the moment, no, is the answer to it. Oh, good, Vincenzo, I'm glad you're still here. That's good news. Have you got any questions for me? Normally you've got millions of questions for me, Vincenzo, or did I answer them all on our call the other day? I'm surprised you've not fired loads at me. Anyone else? No? Right, so I'm going to go. Thank you very much for all of your questions. If you've got any other things that I've not covered, I'm probably going to do one of these once a week, just to kind of stay in touch with you guys, and also to just answer any questions, so that it's, you know, what I really want to do is just kind of add value to you guys. I don't want to be on here selling you courses. It's not what this is about. This is really more about answering your questions, and getting to know you guys, what you're up to, and for you to get to know me a little bit better as well. That, you know, I don't want anything in return for this. All I ever ask is that you guys interact with me and ask me some questions, so that I can actually make a bit of a difference. So it's been fun. Anything else, just ping me a message, and I will speak to you maybe next week. Speak to you soon.